Oh, I'm starting to get nervous because now I'm like, oh no. Because I'm just winging it here. I'm okay with how things are turning out right now. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, girl, of course it's not going to come exactly. She's stiff. Welcome back to my studio where we relish in our crafts. Today's upcycled project is this Appleseed brand size large vest. There's something going on here in the collar where the little plastic lining is peeling away and it feels like shards of glass on my neck. And so instead of redonating it or trashing it, we're going to upcycle it. Now, I will say that at the end of my completed projects, I like to style up my project so that you guys can see how it is that I would wear it out in the real world. Now, I'm going to put this on because I need your help figuring out what this is called. Whatever this is, I love it. I pick them up at the thrift stores and I throw them on over a coat that may not have a thick collar or a hood. And they are divine, fashionably and warmth-wise. They're very practical. I love that you could just take it on and off if you get too warm. They look divine. My goodness. This one in particular, right, it's not a scarf. I can't wrap it around. It just kind of sits here. And some of them are much shorter, right? It's more like a collar, but this one's long. I love that about this. It's like goes down past my belly button. Like that's so cool because then you could like hold it in place with a belt. So I don't know what it's called, but I love it. This one has a collar on it. I'm going to attempt to clone this style. Of course, it's not going to come out exactly like it because I'm just winging it here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just intuitively working my way through things, okay? And showing you my process at best and having a little bit of fun at the end. Hopefully you enjoy that type of content. It's more entertaining than anything else. So I do not believe that this is enough fabric. I mean, this thing is long. There's 2 pieces and it's super long. So is there enough fabric here? No. Are we going to figure it out? Yes, because that's what I do here in my laundry room, mudroom / studio, okay? What I have planned is to hopefully mock up a pattern by tracing this, whatever this is, this scarf collar thing, and just getting started piecing it together. Now, decoratively, I love appliqué. Okay, I know that you guys have seen that in my collection video when I've upcycled things, or in my patches video, my boot video. I like to just kind of put fun patches on things, and I love the green. So I think I'm going to go with a motif of snakes. I think that that would be so cool because, you know, when you think of a snake or a boa, hey, it's like that goes around your collar, right? We're going to go with some snakes, see how that goes, okay? So let's get started. Okay, I've laid out the shawl, the scarf, the collar, and I tried my best to trace around it. And this is what I came up with. So these are just some rough measurements to give you an idea of what the shape of this shawl or scarf is. I tried to measure out the length of both pieces, the largest width in the middle and the smallest width, just to give you an idea of what I am dealing with here. Okay, now that I have my pattern pretty much sketched out for the entirety of this piece, I am now going to see what I can do about making these snakes. Luckily, from a past project, I have some scrap fabric. This has to be like a type of faux suede material, right? And I added some heavyweight interfacing onto it to give it this very stiff structure. And I have this faux leather vinyl material. I got it for a swamp witch robe that I created, hat and robe combination that I created for my wife's niece. And That was super fun. But now I have a ton of this fabric or material left over, and it is perfect for this. So as you saw in my patch video, what I do is I sketch out the shape that I want and I print it out. I play with the scale and come out with a couple sizes if that's what I'm doing, right? If I'm working with more than one size of something. And what I'm thinking is that I'm going to cut the snake out of this faux suede material, but then I'm going to cut out a larger shape of this faux leather vinyl, right? So that it's wider than the actual center. And then by doing that, I'll get a border or edge of this material. So I think that that would create a snake-like visual texture. Also, in the middle of the snakes, I'm going to machine embroider, which also on the patch video, I showed how it is that I machine embroider. If you want to know what kind of foot I use or how it is that I go about do it, you can refer to the patch DIY video. It's not a lot of detail that I'm skipping over here. I'm going to do snakes, and I just love stars. I think stars are so fun and cool. So I'm going to use this stencil. I'll make a smaller one like the snake, a smaller star in the faux suede, and then I will make a larger star in the vinyl material so that they're layered on top of each other. Let's do that now, and I will show you how it is that I'm going to do that. I'll probably speed up the video because it does take some time, but you'll get to see how it is that I am winging it over here. Okay, so you'll get to see what that looks like. Let me get set up and let's do it. After I've cut out all of my shapes and pieces, I'm just going to go ahead and sew them together. I'm going to do the same with the snake, just sew it on, centered onto this faux vinyl material. And in order to try to get some snake-like details, I'm going to try my best to just kind of create a zigzag line up the snake in one direction. And then I will turn the snake around and zigzag stitch in the opposite direction. I think I'll add a couple of eyes and that'll be it. Okay, here are my applique patches that I intend to use. Did I make too many? Probably, but better safe than sorry. And yeah, I like over embellishing things anyhow. So for example, here is a star. Very happy with that. And one of the snakes, very happy with that. Just kind of went a little crazy here to simulate kind of like a rattle. Good enough for me. I like it very much. Very happy with it. So I just went with a couple sizes. Like this snake is larger than this one. Right? They're smaller. Made exactly the same, and I think it's fine. And because I was working with scrap fabric, I had to piece together this faux suede, and I think it looks fine. It's a upcycle project, patchwork. It's meant to look that way. So now that we have everything we need to embellish it, let's get started on cutting up the vest and figuring out how we're going to make it work. This is what I was talking about, the collar, these really hard pieces of, I don't know, it feels like plastic to me. It really hurts the neck and it's not very appealing. So that's why I'm gonna use this for my project. The plastic is not really torn up the way this is here. So I don't know. It has pockets, so I'm trying to work with it. I'm gonna turn it inside out here, and hopefully you get an idea of what I'm doing. Trying to find the middle of my pattern here. I'm going to end up cutting off this faux brown leather here, and then I'll just stitch up the edge of whatever's left behind. So I'm gonna make sure that my pattern is exactly where I want it. I mean, that's more length than I thought it was going to render, so that's pretty good. I think now what I'm going to do is cut across the top and get rid of this for now and cut the zipper off and this faux leather. I'll just start there. Oh, I'm starting to get nervous because now I'm like, oh no, am I going to be able to do this? Okay, so obviously I need more fabric here, and I'm hoping that this can be useful for that. So, you know, this is what I do here. I'm just winging it, figuring it out. I think that's hopefully obvious. And it's okay if it comes out a little bit shorter than my pattern. It'll, for the most part, be in that shape that I want. Okay, so I'm gonna cut off here at this shoulder seam. Okay, we're gonna make it work. So this one will go there, and this one will go here. I'm going to just sew these together to complete the length, and then I'm probably going to sew really quick a straight stitch at the bottom so I'm not shifting pieces too much and fraying. So I'm just going to start there, and then afterwards I'll worry about perfecting cutting out the exact shape. Now I have this piece here which I'm very happy about, because here I'll be able to use the center of it for here. I'm gonna have to worry about how it is that I get the rest of it. I will have to look at my fabric that I have around here to see what I can do to solve for this issue here. I still have hope that this will work. We gotta keep going. Okay, so I was concerned with the thickness for the sake of my machine, and so I pinned both pieces together, and so from there I peeled back one layer. I've took away some of the stitches here, as you could see, and now I'm going to cut this bulk off as much as I can and then figure out from there. But I just want to get rid of as much as this is possible for now. I think I should save this fabric too. Yeah, I think I'm going to do the same with this quilted part. I'm going to have to remove all these stitches, peel it away from the filling, cut the filling out, and only use the fabric part, the external shells, to stitch together and merge because it's just too thick. So once I get this done, I will show you how that I feel better about that approach. So let me get through that process, and then I'll bring you back for the cutout and just figure out how it is I'm going to merge them after. Now I have successfully pulled away the shell, and I'm going to cut out all of this thickness here carefully. That was one side. Now I'm going to cut away on the other panel. Now that all this thickness is cut out, I'm left with these pieces of fabric, right? I'm going to iron them in a way that will create a decent seam so that I can sew it down together and it looks nicer, and now it won't have this thickness here. So I'll go ahead and work on maybe trying to iron something together here with these pieces to connect it. I will be doing the same thing for the other end of the jacket. I think that I have tucked and pinned and pressed and folded this enough to where I can sew them together now without all of the thickness, that hopefully when I flip it on the other side, it will look okay. That worked. I'm glad that I took the time to take all those seams out and cut out the thickness. And this is how the panel looks merged. So now I just have to do the same for the other end. So I'll go ahead and get that done. Since you've already seen this process, I'll just go ahead and work through that and not worry too much about capturing it. But I just use the same color thread that I'm using on my patches just to kind of tie it all in together. And I'm glad that it wasn't like 4 layers of thickness, and the transition, it went fine, I think. So I'm very happy with that. So I'll get the other side done and then we'll cut it more exact, I think, to the pattern. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if I'm able to keep the zippers on this. Okay, I've got those 2 extra panels sewn on. It's still not long enough. Not a problem. We will figure it out. So I have the pattern laying on top here. And what I'm going to do is cut away some of the top, but not too much, as I need seam allowance for when I go to attach the collar part. But definitely a little bit off of here, a little bit off of this area here, and then I'll go from there, figure out what my next step is. The next thing that I'm going to do is cut a straight line here. Right now it's at an awkward shape, like a curve, so I'll just cut it straight so that it's easier for me to create that panel that I need. And I'll do that on both ends. Okay, this is where I'm at so far. Very scary, but we're figuring it out. So this is where I am at. There is a lot of irregular shapes here because of like the armholes and just, yeah, this is like the armholes. And so I need to work on making it a more even shape. And as you saw, I need a little bit more like a half circle panel on each end. Now, this fabric is nothing like a faux fur, right? It's a lot more structured and stiffer and thicker. And I wanted it, right? Because it's quilted. You see it's got like this filling in here so that it is warm. Now, I'm going to try it on for you and we're going to talk. She's stiff, okay? This would have been just the body of the faux fur plus a collar. Now, I'm okay with how things are turning out right now. It's a little scary, but listen, the pockets are kind of cool. Unplanned. I didn't give that any thought, and they're there and they work. Okay. I don't know what this garment is called, but a shawl, what do you call it? What do you call that fur thing? A stole. She calls it a stole. Okay. So a stole with pockets. Now, this is the shape that I traced. Now, let me fold back some of the top. Y'all, I think that works. I think that works. That's what I'm going for. I can still add a collar, right? But I'm just trying to show you that the body of it is technically smaller than the one of the faux fur, right? According to my pattern. I can cut a more regular line around this, right? Look, we're just winging it here, okay? Complete intuitive process. I think I'm going to go ahead, unstitch some of the things. You know how I added this panel, the sides? I had to take the stitches out, take some filling out so that I can tuck in and make a nice clean seam. I'm going to have to do that to the entire border of this. Now, that means that the back piece that we cut off, the top, right, the back of the vest, I can use these two squares, right, cut it down the middle and use it for the rest of my stole, scarf, collar, whatever it's called. Very exciting stuff. Ooh, hold on. And that still leaves room for my patches. Plenty of room. So I think that's what I'm going to do. This is going to take time. It's pretty late in the day now. I didn't anticipate how annoying the filling was going to be and how much work it takes to pick the quilting out in order to get a nice clean seam. So I'm gonna have to do that to the entire perimeter of this thing, get a nice decent shape going. And what do you guys think about this? Like the sides of the vest, right? So this opened at the hip like a little V shape, right? Like this. And now it's falling kind of here at my elbow. I could close it up. I could put a patch there. Ooh, and another thing, let me show you. So the material that I told you that I had left over from my Swamp Witch project, girl, I have another green fabric that I used for that project. Why? Tell me why. It's a very decent match to the vest. It's in the family, close enough for me. I have this fabric in my inventory and I think it goes pretty darn good with this vest. So I can create a border around this thing in that fabric and it'll go. Also, if I make a collar, this stuff is really soft. I could use it for building out the collar. So very, very cool stuff turning out here, but I need to get to work on making an even shape out of this and cleaning up the seams so that it doesn't fray or continue to fall apart. I'm very happy that just by making the body of it smaller than the original gives me what I need for a collar, and it works. It's a very structured, stiff situation, but by doing that, it sits exactly how I want it. So very exciting, and I'll keep you posted. I cut that last piece of the vest in half and added it to the ends of my project, and with the pattern I went ahead and cut out the shape. Right, so here are the halves of the back vest. I cut away some of the batting so that I can get some seam allowance, right? Pinned it into the ends of my whole wrap here. And now I'm going to go ahead and sew them. And that way I'll get that extra piece of length for the front of it. So now that I've done all the prep work, I'm going to go ahead and sew it together. I have also prepped the entire, the perimeter of the wrap. I cut away the batting. So I removed all around the entire thing. I picked all the stitches. That way I can go ahead and close up the perimeter of my wrap. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the ends, and I'm going to tuck in both of the edges and sew them together for a clean seam all the way around. Okay, so gonna get it done. Okay, it took some simple magic, but we got there. I am done sealing up the perimeter of this thing, and I've got it just pinned in 2 points where I kind of wanted to stay down. That makes the collar of it. So let me try it on for you. Well, let me show you. This is how it's looking. I kept the lining of it. I liked the lining. You can see all that. And I hand stitched it all around just so that I can create an invisible seam, right? So just stitched the pieces together. Now let me put it on. Okay, so this is pretty much what I was envisioning, right? It's a neck or collar thing that goes over your jacket, whatever. I don't know what to call this. Now I'm playing with the idea of creating a fastener here of some sort, either a hook or a button or a tie, actually, maybe like 2 strings that I could tie together, because I think the lacing up of a bow, that would be kind of cool. So the pockets was a happy accident. They are fully functional. And I kind of love the idea of the pockets. I was thinking about lining the collar part. I was going to cut this little detail out. I think it was a part of the armholes. Now, I thought it was kind of cool to leave some of the design elements that made it a vest. I don't mind it looking upcycled, handmade. That's what I'm going for. And the little openings of the side of the jacket, I just kind of kept because they fall right off the shoulder and it allows for it to sit comfortably. So what I'm going to do next is just get busy adding my applique in various places. It's pretty close to being done, and you'll see in the reveal what I decided to go with here, whether if I added something to fasten it, you know, if it was a string, a button, a hook, and then you'll get to see it with the patches put on. Yeah, I'm just gonna stitch the perimeter of the snakes and boom, done. So this is exactly what I was picturing. So kind of excited to just see it done. Yeah, so really happy with how it's gone so far. I really like it as a winter accessory. I think it definitely needs a tie of some sort to just help it stay together in the front. I think that'd be great. So let me get busy sewing on the applique and style it up once it's done. Really stoked with how it came out. All right, let me do that. I went ahead and just hand stitched all of the applique, and it worked out really well. I have all of these little remnants and scraps. I'm going to see if I can sew them together with a combination of machine sewing and hand sewing to see if I can make some matching ties to serve as the closure. After sewing all the pieces together, I pressed them into the shape that I desired. After doing this, I fold them in half and just hand stitch them closed. I did add a couple of little decorative pom-poms at the end of them. I thought they matched and went well with the entire look, as you'll see in the reveal, and I'm very happy with these ties.
Tell me what you working with, what you working with. Tell me what you working with, what you working with. Tell me what you working with, what you working with. What you working with.
Thank you for watching my Upcycle DIY video, especially if you watched it the whole way through. Thank you so much. It helps a lot and it means a lot to me, those of you who take the time to do that. So thank you very much. I really enjoyed this project. I think it came out exactly how I envisioned it. It was scary through the process though, because sometimes your vision may not translate, very well in real life. But I think it came out. I mean, it was a little, I had some self doubt along the way as I was trying it on. Even when I finished it, I was like, oh gosh, I'm not sure that this is working out the way that I wanted to. But then once I started to style it up, I was able to like, think about it and see it as a whole, and my vision came together. Sometimes it really does take putting on the piece, accessorizing it to see it all kind of come together. Garments don't always look good on the hanger and they don't always make sense. And as soon as you put them on, it's a whole different story. And that's this vest's story. Now, I hope you guys can help me name this garment, this accessory, because it's a collar, it's a scarf of sorts. So I don't know what to call it. I love it. And it has, because I kept the lining, I think it has a very like bomber style to it. And I'm very happy with it. I like how my patches came out. A lot of my work has a sense of humor to it. And it's just like me. I have a sense of humor to me too. So I think it's a perfect interpretation of my style. I'm going to bring you in for a closer look. That's how I like to end my videos. I like to get some close-up shots of my project so that you get a little bit more detail. But that's it. That is it. I tried to style it up with one outfit that was a little bit more dressier and then one that was a bit more casual street style. So that way you could see it both in both environments. So thank you so much for watching. And until my next video, I'll see you next time. Bye.
What you working with?